Hi, I'm David Gerard and this is Pivot to AI, coming to you daily. Today, in the most exciting news ever, GPT-5 is out! The singularity is here. So OpenAI has put out something they've called GPT-5, and it's no any great shakes. It's a large language model, a chatbot. It's been tweaked to do well on some benchmarks. In casual use, it's GPT-4o with some more modules bolted on. If you use chatbots, you might find it does better on some stuff and worse on others. But I think the main reason OpenAI did a big splash GPT-5 announcement now is because OpenAI has to keep showing momentum, especially if there isn't any, because they need to keep the funding coming in. In particular, OpenAI needs to turn from a non-profit into an ordinary for-profit company, and it has to convince Microsoft to let it, because Microsoft is one of the big blockers on that move, and Microsoft isn't keen. I think GPT-5 is meant to help convince Microsoft that OpenAI is worth keeping around. So the big question is, why aren't large language models making much visible progress? OpenAI has been desperate to release something so super hot it was worthy of the brand name GPT-5. They tried O1 Strawberry last year. It wasn't really convincing. Another candidate, they released it as GPT 4.5. These were incremental advances. They were not exciting. So OpenAI have put out what they've got, and they're hyping it up like they really did build the AI god. But it really obviously isn't at all. It's just another tweaked chatbot. Why isn't OpenAI getting very far? Why aren't these new models exciting? Any technology tends to progress on an S-curve. Stuff starts off looking like it's going up exponentially to the moon, but that progress gets harder and it tops out. And you get stuck at the top here, and every little increase takes more and more work. The AI companies have straight up admitted already they can't just scale up. Look at OpenAI. Its O1 Strawberry model last year. Dig this performance graph. This is a graph from the promotion for O1. It shows a slight increase in accuracy on a benchmark, but that training time scale is logarithmic. You need exponentially more training to get slight linear increases. Or OpenAI runs one query through multiple large language models to get a slightly better answer. GPT-4 was 8 copies of GPT-3 in a trench coat. What that looks like to you, the user, is that everything takes thousands more tokens and it takes ages to respond to any question. They've swallowed all the data in the world and there haven't been any breakthroughs in model training. So the thing that's been released as GPT-5 is just tweaks to their previous models. Let's meet GPT-5 in particular. OpenAI introduced GPT-5 with a 1 hour and 17-minute video of a pile of OpenAI people sitting around a table talking about how great the model was. And I have no plans to watch the whole thing either, but here's Sam Altman's intro.
Today, finally, we're launching GPT-5. GPT-5 is a major upgrade over GPT-4 and a significant step along our path to AGI.
It is fun looking through the video for the amazing chart crimes. Podcast listeners, you'll have to hit the YouTube for this, but they're worth it. This is the style in this video. You have the team around the table and there's a screen next to them with a graph on it. This graph is showing results on the SWE Bench programming benchmark. Let's look at that graph. GPT-5 gets a big pink bar with 74.9 on top. Next to it is O3 with 69.1 at the top. But the O3 bar isn't just a little lower, it's half the size of the bar for GPT-5. Next to that is GPT-4o at 30.8. But the GPT-4o bar is the same size as O3's 69.1 bar. Here's the deception evaluation. The pink bar is GPT-5. It's less than half the height of the bar for O3. What an improvement! For the actual numbers, GPT-5 scores 50.0 and O3 scores 47.4, a little less. They're showing it as if GPT-5 is 1/3 as deceptive when it actually scores slightly more deceptive. So whoever the lying weasel was who made this graph, they get a very high deception score. OpenAI did correct the graphs on their website when these massive lies were called out, so that's nice. Sam Altman is touting GPT-5 as a, quote, PhD level expert, unquote. I mean, to get a PhD, you make an original contribution to human knowledge, and this new chatbot is just a regurgitation and mashup machine. But also, you might expect a PhD could count. So let's try the one critical question that everyone tries first. How many R's are there in strawberry? So GPT-5 can do the specific word strawberry. That's cool. But I suspect they hard-coded that question because it fails super hard on other words. Here's a GPT conversation. It's linked in the show notes below. Quote, question, how many E's are in a dingleberry? ChatGPT said, if you mean the literal word dingleberry, it contains 3 E's. DINGLEBE**RRY, tick. 1 at position 5, 1 at position 8, and 1 at position 10. Would you like me to also break down where the other letters appear? Unquote. So, yeah, somehow nobody's cracked the counting letters problem. By the way, if you don't like GPT-5, no problem. OpenAI has removed all the other models. GPT-5 is your only choice now. Reddit ChatGPT is deeply, deeply unhappy about this. So, brother, can you spare $40 billion? Will GPT-5 do job number 1? Get OpenAI more money. They just got another $8.7 billion of actual money last week as part of the $40 billion fundraiser OpenAI was doing with SoftBank. OpenAI's big problem now is Microsoft. OpenAI needs to turn from a weird non-profit into an ordinary for-profit company. If it doesn't, it may well die. Trouble is, Microsoft is not convinced. We've long thought that OpenAI is functionally a Microsoft subsidiary they keep at arm's length. Microsoft supplies the money, Microsoft supplies the computing power, Microsoft has rights to all OpenAI software. If OpenAI dies tomorrow, Microsoft can keep right on going, selling its own copies of all OpenAI stuff, and they could hire OpenAI staff as needed. Remember, Microsoft already offered to do precisely this in November 2023, when the OpenAI board tried to fire Sam. They offered to take on the software, Sam and some of the staff. So OpenAI's problem now is it has to convince Microsoft that it's better to keep OpenAI running as a separate development group and not just let it die so Microsoft can swallow it whole. Microsoft's dream is to sell its AI stuff to enterprise customers for even more money per user per month. That's why Microsoft is doing all of this AI rubbish. So OpenAI has to make itself look necessary to that dream, and OpenAI's got 4 months to do it. So I'm sure that we all wish Sam the very best of luck. Thanks for tuning in to Pivot to AI. If you found this episode useful or informative, please do tell just one other person about it. Spread the word. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a podcast review, and our work here is funded by you, the viewers and listeners. If you can, please do drop just $5 into the Patreon linked in the show notes below. It helps a lot. Thank you all. See you tomorrow, and bye for now.